I work at a law firm, and it's a fairly medium-sized law firm. I think at this point we're getting close to 500 attorneys. So I'm private practice, and I work for clients in both the public government sector as well as in private, companies all over the U.S. and the globe. And then there's lawyers that work, for the government. There's lawyers that work for trade associations, nonprofit groups, and obviously there's lawyers that, like you see on TV, criminal defense, attorneys that are defending our rights every day. And yeah, I think it's a great profession because you can pretty much, if you have an interest, you can find a legal area to get into with that interest in mind. I loved business. I liked marketing. I liked property. Obviously, I was a real estate paralegal, and now I'm an intellectual property attorney. So I think that is, something that I was interested in, and now here I am able to use kind of that same interest as a career as a lawyer. One of the reasons I liked real estate was because you could go anywhere and do it. Any small town, any big city, it was the same sort of, you could put a sign out and do it. I did feel like with intellectual property, you're sort of tied to the bigger cities. I don't think it's that way anymore, but certainly 10, 15 years ago that it was that way, where that, if you want to have FaceTime with clients and they happen to be in Silicon Valley, then that's where you're going to want to be practicing so that you can go out and go to those meetings and meet with them in person. Same with, DC, New York, and LA. You named the cities where there's a lot of lawyers when we started, and certainly that's, I think, true because there's just more people there and more, FaceTime with clients, and so there's a lot more to do. Copyright is the right that we have in tangible works of authorship. So essentially that is anything that's a creative work that you make that you put into a tangible means is protected by copyright. So it can be a painting, it can be software code, it can be a television show. There's just multiple layers in the recording of what is protectable. You have, the person singing, the person who wrote the music. You have the music, the composition, so the actual notes that somebody writes down are protectable, but then the way they sound could also be protectable and owned by somebody else. So there's just a lot of different parties that can have rights, and that's what makes copyright fun and exciting. The trademark is the right that extends to your brand. Trademark's equally fun because trademark not only can be the word or the slogan, it can be a color, it can be a design, it can be the way your restaurant looks, the way the people at your restaurant dress. If you're able to establish that when somebody sees that brand, they know it's you, that's a trademark. So packaging can function as a trademark. Sometimes even the design of an auto part could function as a trademark as well. Patent, there's different types of patents. There's a utility patent and then a design patent. A utility patent is the way that something works, and a design patent is the way it's designed. Theft of IP, certainly just people copying other people's ideas and using it as their own is always, a big issue on the patent side. Patent is just constantly changing with the battles that they're having with patent trolls out there, which are, aggregating a bunch of patent rights and then using those as kind of a weapon against other parties. And then, just on the more fun issues or just the copyright issues you see with music, entertainment, media. Intellectual property really touches on everything we do. So, everything we do, there's some sort of property element as far as creative works, and a lot of different people have different input on what's protectable and what's not. So it's a really fun and kind of moving area. At least in my world, I think the biggest misconception is if we could most lawyers, like I said, don't go because they like business. They don't go to law school because, if anything, we're sort of like, we didn't want to be business. That's why we're lawyers. We liked reading and writing and analyzing and maybe arguing, but certainly we didn't want to, if we wanted to do business, we would have gone to business school, So the misconception that all we're trying to do is, rack up bills or spend your money is completely false, because it's just not who. It's so adverse to who we kind of are at our core, because if that, like I said, most of us aren't business people. We went because of the various skills we had back when we were making the decision to go to law school. So I think if anything, the world we're put in is that there's a lot of laws out there, and unfortunately, we're in the position of having to help people when they either are trying to navigate those laws or get out of trouble. So, there is a bill attached to that, but I don't think any of us enjoy that part. I think it's the same traits that make anybody good at, being a lawyer here, the skills that you have to be able to read, you have to be able to write, and you have to be able to analyze things and argue, especially if you're going to be a litigator, and be comfortable standing in front of people and arguing. You can learn those skills just like in any profession. I do think just like any job, you also have to be diligent, hardworking, attention to detail, and you can't give up. But I think, so there's the skills that I guess most lawyers have, which would be the reading, the writing, the analyzing, the thoughtful kind of part of the job. But then there's also the other side of it, which is, you have to be able to work hard and keep working. And that's true of any job. In order to excel at any job, you have to have the work ethic.